All right, yeah, but now looking at next week's slate of games, we got 4 games. We have both the Packers and the Chiefs coming off of that bye week, which I I don't know if I like only one team having a bye week. I think it just is weird. We'll see how the play is on field, but to me,
I
it,
didn't
it
mind
seems a
one team
little.
having the bye week. My issue is having the Bears make the playoffs and then realistically only score 3 points during the game, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. Washington performed better than them.
absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Even
Anyways,
with what's his name as like a quarterback, practice squad guy.
Taylor Heineke, who performed very well given the circumstances. I mean, he missed his college finals, unfortunately. He was an emergency quarantine quarterback for Washington. I forgot this, but I read an article about him that was saying that Washington signed him to the practice squad as their emergency quarterback if COVID,
Yeah, after
ravaged
the
their whole.
Broncos game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And geez, can you imagine that? Like, yeah, I'll be your
and that's the only reason why
emergency.
he's on this team. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
If
And
they
he
didn't
actually
sign him,
gave
maybe
them.
Dwayne Haskins was going to start that game.
Oh my
So
god, they would have lost a lot worse. Anyways, talking about next week's games, we got the first up. We got Rams at the Packers. This is a game I don't think the Rams want to play. Obviously they're gonna show up play, but going into Lambeau with Aaron Rodgers playing the way he is, coming off a bye week in the divisional round of the playoffs, I think the Rams would prefer going up against the Saints or the Bucks. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to lead this team to win. Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams just have been going off all season, and it's going to continue in this playoff. If Jalen Ramsey can disrupt that, sure, but they just have other ways to beat you, especially in Lambeau in a cold weather game. Goff still has that thumb injury. I don't know if Walford is going to be cleared to play. I haven't heard anything about that. Still early in the week. But either way, I'm not confident in the Rams being able to get this win in Lambeau. I think it's going to be solely on their defense, and I think this is all their success in the playoffs is going to come from from the defensive side of the ball if they're going to continue on going into the next round. So I'm picking the Packers to win. Just Rodgers. I thought he was going out, but I was very wrong. These are two teams that I thought were going to be in fourth place in their division, and they're in the divisional round. So I was very wrong about both these teams, but I'm going to give Rodgers the credit here. I'm going to say they're going to win this game.
yeah, I'm totally going with the Packers here too. One huge advantage that I think the Packers home. I mean, just in addition to being at home and being in at Lambeau, they're much better suited to win in snowy conditions than the Rams are. Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, and that other back that they drafted, I think in the second round last year. They don't just have a strong running game, but they have multiple ways that they can attack you. Whether they have a power game, they have a more elusive cutback game. They have some solid tight ends there, which they haven't had for a real long time. And the balanced attack that they have on offense, I think just creates so many opportunities for them. I think when you look at where Matt LaFleur has come from with guys like Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan, it's people that really like to run the ball effectively. The Rams do a fine job, but they still haven't they haven't been the same team since they were when Gurley was in his prime, and they were really able to have that be their primary option, right? You mentioned Aaron Rodgers too. I think he's going to be uber prepared for this one. I would be really surprised to see the Packers end up losing. Their defense was not playing well at the beginning of the season, played a whole lot better on the back end. So I would be really surprised to see the Packers ended up losing this one, especially without knowing much about the quarterback situation in Los Angeles. Because even if Goff does start, he's not going to be 100% healthy. Granted, nobody's 100% healthy at this time of a year. But when you're playing in 10-degree weather and you have a broken thumb and you're trying to throw the ball, like that is a major issue. You can't overlook that. So
definitely, yeah. So we both got Packers in this one. Next up, we got the Ravens at the Bills. Looking at the other AFC team too, we got Browns at the Chiefs. I wanted to bring this up, and this isn't really about Ravens Bills, but the AFC, Baker is the oldest quarterback out of the 4 AFC teams left, and he's only 25 years old. And when you look on the other side, you got Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, and even Drew Brees. These quarterbacks are in their late 30s, 40s. It's just crazy the disparity. It's like we're seeing the past in the NFC and we're seeing what
Mhm.
the future of the league is going to be in the AFC. It's just an interesting fact there. But Ravens at Bills,
Really interesting thing
yeah,
with that too, because I think this puts some things into perspective too. Like when people are saying earlier this year that Lamar Jackson can't win a playoff
oh
game and
yeah,
stuff. Lamar Jackson is younger than Joe Burrow is.
yeah,
So when we're talking about development, right? Like let's give him a chance. Joe
give
Burrow
him a
didn't
chance.
pop till he
He's
was
still young.
23. Just
Yeah,
slow
I
your
mean,
roll.
yeah, Mahomes is 25, and did it when he was 24. Yeah,
Yeah.
so like Jackson's young. Anyways, yeah, Ravens Bills. I would love the Ravens to win this game and the Browns to win against the Chiefs, so we get an AFC North matchup in the divisional round. Just because, especially the last time the Browns and Ravens played, I think it would be an exciting, fun game, especially the way they played against the Steelers, the Browns. But I picking the Bills here. Josh Allen again. It's him and Aaron Rodgers right now. If the league decides to go with a quarterback for MVP, otherwise I think it's Derrick Henry. But it's between those two quarterbacks. Josh Allen's playing great. Uh, even though it looked like Indianapolis could have very well won that game last week against the Bills,
Mhm.
I just never thought they would. Like I just have confidence in what the Bills are doing defensively and offensively. Josh Allen is one of those quarterbacks that will win the game for you. He's took a huge leap this year. So I'm going with the Bills in this one. I think the Bills are the only teams that also can beat the Chiefs going forward, uh, which is a different thing. But yep, going with the Bills in this one.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think this matchup is similar to when the Ravens played the Chiefs. I think this is a great matchup for the Bills. When you have the ability to have a high powered offense like that, when you have the ability to throw a 70-yard bomb to, either Tyreek Hill or Stephon Diggs at like any given time, I think that gives you a big advantage over a team like the Ravens that is so run heavy.
Yeah,
What we saw with that Chiefs game on Monday Night Football, and I think that was like week like 3 or something like that. So I mean, very different teams that we're talking about too. Once they get behind by more than a touchdown, they become a different team and they aren't nearly as
yeah,
effective with their strategies, right? So I love the Bills in this one. I like the Ravens a whole lot. I just think that the Bills match up with them so well. Their strength is
yeah.
passing. Baltimore's great at stuff in the run. The Bills aren't even that great at running the ball, anyways, right? So like
No, they're not.
I just think that the Bills have a big advantage here. I will say, depending on what the weather is, that might end up
That's true.
reversing itself, and maybe it's so windy, like one of those games that they had in Cleveland when they played the Raiders, that it's impossible to pass the ball, and Ravens get a big advantage because of that. So we're just gonna have to see, but totally think the Bills are going to win. I think the Bills and Chiefs will be in that championship game. I will say though, with the Browns and Chiefs, looking at that next matchup, uh, I totally expect the Chiefs to win. The Browns, I think, can play the type of style that I think irritates the Chiefs the most, though. One, you are able to have an elite pass rusher like a Myles Garrett to be able to put that pressure on Patrick Mahomes. But I think the bigger issue is on their offensive side. They have such a good offensive line and they have so many good running backs there that they're if they can dominate time of a possession, it's not just the fact that you're keeping the ball away from Patrick Mahomes, but you're not allowing him to get into rhythm, right?
Yeah,
I think that's what you saw with the Chiefs versus the Texans last year. Houston was able to get out to the 24-0 lead just because Kansas City wasn't able to kind of do anything. But then they get ultra conservative. Patrick Mahomes gets into a rhythm, and all of a sudden that lead evaporates, right? So I do think the Browns have an opportunity here because of the way that they play, and hypothetically Kevin Stefanski should be back, right? But it's just so hard to bet against the Chiefs, who can play like crap for 3 quarters and then still win that game because of Patrick Mahomes, right? So
100%. Yeah. Yep.
yeah.
Like Patrick Mahomes is that quarterback again. It's who will and has shown that he is capable and will do it. It's not even like an if. It's he
Yep.
will put your team in a position to win. At least if you need a touchdown, with a couple seconds left, he's gonna do it. It happened in
Mhm.
multiple games this season. He's just that quarterback. I would love the Browns to win this game. They put the league on notice winning against the Steelers the way they did. But the win against the Chiefs, that is a huge thing in the playoffs that would elevate this team. I would love the Browns to beat the Chiefs in
Mhm.
this round. But again, I just can't go against the Chiefs until I see them lose. I don't believe that they're gonna lose. They're just that loaded on both sides of the ball. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna pick the Chiefs to win this game. There was something else I was gonna say, but I can't remember. It doesn't matter. I was just gonna bring up Smith Schuster saying that before the Browns game, he's like, I don't care. Like the Browns is gonna Brown, and then they get destroyed, and now
That was something
now
they asked
Cleveland is kind of
Myles Garrett after the game, and they didn't reference Juju Smith-Schuster specifically,
yeah
but they said, "Who are the Browns?" And then Myles Garrett said, "We're just the same old Browns."
yeah
You know?
same old Browns. Yeah, no, that whole team. That's why I think that's also why they think they won because there was a lot of talk from Pittsburgh being like, whatever. And I think Pittsburgh definitely underestimated this Browns team, specifically some players.
Absolutely. No, when you start the game down 28-0, I think it's pretty clear that you are not as prepared as that other team was, right?
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, Chiefs. Man, like I said before, I would love Ravens and Browns to get these wins and move on. But we have.
I think from an entertainment standpoint, and like two teams that don't like each other, I love that. But I think Bills and Chiefs will ultimately be a much better game.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's gonna. Yeah, that makes sense. Anyways, our last matchup between two aging quarterbacks. We got the Buccaneers going up against the Saints. We finally get not finally, but we get this. Actually, have they played in the playoffs, Tom Brady and Breeze, against each other
No,
yet?
because
I guess it would have to be in a Super Bowl.
I think that they did have a playoff game when Breeze was in San Diego. When we still had Sean Merriman. Okay, all right. No, okay. Since then, no, because Breeze has always been in the
and they haven't
NFC.
They haven't got to the Super Bowl yet together. So
together.
Yeah. So all right, cool. So yeah, we get this. We finally get this matchup in the playoffs.
I think all time Breeze is 5-2 against Brady, which is surprising to me.
Yeah. Well, I think they won both games this year, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. And like that's a big thing because then it's 3-2 and then it's a lot more balanced. But like even still, especially because I know one of those wins came when Marty Schottenheimer was still our head coach and we won in New England. I think at that time when New England wasn't maybe not undefeated, but like really good.
Really good.
Like, really
back
good.
To San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, this game, they're in New Orleans. We kind of figured at some point this probably would happen in the playoffs. We'd get these two teams. Playoff Tom is good. I don't like Tom Brady at all. I still think, and this is how I felt at the beginning of the season, I'm gonna pick the Saints here because they have just been consistently more good. More good. They have been better overall. Even with Breeze going out and being injured, they still were better than the Bucs were, in my opinion. So I'm going with the Saints here. I expect a low-scoring game, which I don't think many people would out of this game. But I think these two defenses are gonna. I think it's gonna be low-scoring. Maybe one team gets up to 21 points, but I don't think it gets higher than that.
Yeah, no, I think
both
teams get into the 20s. The way that these offenses are clicking right now, I do think it's interesting. Like Breeze always surprises me because I still think like he can't throw the ball down the field, but he still manages to be so uber effective. And I mean, when you have Sean Payton as a play caller, I don't think a lot of that stuff matters. And Alvin Kamara is so good. I would love to see the Saints lose because of a blown pass interference call again, just because it's just, I mean, just trolling them at this point I think is fun. But I mean, I think it really is going to come down to which defense ends up playing better, right? Yeah. Tampa Bay does not make a lot of adjustments on offense or on defense. They have lost the first two games of this season, and I think Sean Payton is a significantly better coach than Bruce Arians is. And they're going to have home fields, right? So all of that makes me think that this should be a Saints victory.
I think they do have fans too in New Orleans, but again, it's nowhere near a full Superdome.
Yeah. So that's what like makes it tough because like I feel like on paper I should 100% be going with the Saints here.
But it's Tom Brady still,
I actually think I'm going to go with the Bucs.
Here it is. All right, one disagreement.
We'll see. Yeah,
coming down to Sunday Night Football.
I do think it's going to be close. I think it's going to come down to a fourth quarter 2-minute drive.
And either of those teams would succeed in that moment,
unless Brady forgets what down it is.
That's true. That hopefully,
Alzheimer's, man.
yeah,
Hits when you're 43.
I think it's old timers.